For investors, the takeaway here, it's got to be that cost cutting, guys, a focus on margins has worked for tech stocks. They were able to regain market leadership this year. But now the question is, can more cuts sustain those gains, or do investors start looking for a transition back to top line growth?
So far, about 43,000 tech employees have been let go by their companies in 2024, averaging 780 layoffs each day, according to Layoffs.fyi, a website that tracks layoffs in the tech industry. This number far outpaces the number of terminations in 2023, which averages about 720 layoffs per day that year. However, the U.S. economy has been doing surprisingly well, adding 353,000 jobs in January, around twice what investors had expected. Looking at this chart, you can see that it's the highest since last year's January. So why is the case of the tech industry different? What's behind the recent spate of layoffs among tech workers? In this video, I will talk about the reasons behind all this rampant layoffs in the tech industry. Now, let's get into it. Last year was by all accounts a bloodbath for the tech industry, with more than 260,000 jobs vanishing, the worst 12 months for Silicon Valley since the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s. Executives justified the mass layoffs by citing pandemic hiring sprees, high inflation, and weak consumer demand. In 2024, tech company workforces have largely returned to pre-pandemic levels. Inflation has halved from last year's levels, and consumer confidence is rebounding. Yet, the first 4 weeks of this year have seen over 100 tech companies, including some of the biggest names in the industry, like Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, TikTok, and Salesforce, collectively lay off thousands of their employees. While many of these companies are highly profitable and have plenty of cash reserves, they continue to cut jobs. So what's driving this latest wave of layoffs? Overhiring during the pandemic is still being cited as a reason. Listen to Sarah Needleman, a reporter at the Wall Street Journal.
Or making it harder to borrow cash. And then there's still some employers that are dealing with the they overhired during the pandemic, and they're still trying to figure that out.
When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the economy suffered a significant blow, but the tech industry boomed in 2020. The tech industry's top 7 companies saw their collective value rise by $3.4 trillion. This is due to the high surge of online activity. People were working remotely, shopping online, ordering groceries to be picked up or delivered, streaming movies at home, and taking classes online instead of in person. Many were under quarantine and encouraged to stay home, so people spent more time online. Also, the Fed's emergency actions to boost the pandemic-stricken economy, like cutting interest rates to near zero, helped fuel the tech stock rally. This helped the tech industry to expand and go on a hiring spree. Amazon led the way, adding the most employees during this golden period, reaching a peak of 1.6 million employees. Now, some work is shifting back to the pre-pandemic style. With more people working hybrid schedules, there is less demand for tech services than when people were fully remote. Now that people are out and about, attending events and restaurants, and engaging in more offline activities, the need for tech workers has declined. This has led to decreased demand for the hires made during the pandemic. The increased hiring during the pandemic was more of a response to temporary conditions. Returning to more traditional work styles has lessened the demand for those roles. Another major cause of the layoffs is the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence and machine learning models. More than the economic slowdown, AI transformation became the driving force behind job cuts last year and continues to be a significant factor this year. A small but growing number of tech firms have cited AI as a reason for laying off workers and rethinking new hires in recent months as Silicon Valley races to adapt to rapid advances in the technology being developed in its backyard. Chegg, an education technology company, disclosed in a regulatory filing in June 2023 that it was cutting 4% of its workforce, or about 80 employees, to better position the company to execute against its AI strategy and to create long-term, sustainable value for its students and investors. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna said in an interview with Bloomberg in May 2023 that the company expects to pause hiring for roles it thinks could be replaced with AI in the coming years. Before that, he talked about white-collar jobs being the first role to be impacted by AI. Let's listen to him on this clip.
And I actually believe that the first set of roles that will get impacted are those what I call back office white-collar work.
In its most recent layoff report, outplacement firm Challenger, Gray and Christmas said 3,900 people were laid off in May due to AI, marking its first time breaking out job cuts based on that factor. According to the firm, all those cuts occurred in the tech sector. In late April, Dropbox said it was cutting about 16% of its workforce, or about 500 people, and cited AI. Most companies' reason for this move, as can be seen, is their obsession with efficiency. Meta founder and chief executive officer Mark Zuckerberg had described 2023 as Meta's year of efficiency, adding that the firm would be undergoing some restructuring to improve organizational efficiency, dramatically increase developer productivity and tooling, optimize distributed work, collect garbage and unnecessary processes, and more. That year, Meta cut off 10,000 jobs. You may watch this clip for more details.
Let's begin by talking about tech giant Meta. Now, tech giant Meta is expecting to cut 10,000 jobs by late April. The company says they're going to lift their hiring and their transfer freeze after this restructuring plan unfolds.
At this point, many companies in the US and worldwide are undergoing some form of internal restructuring. There is an evident shift in their business priorities. This is one reason that can lead to eliminating certain departments or projects, which may lead to many job cuts. One example is system analysis program development. In January, this German software company announced a restructuring plan to affect 7% of its workforce, or approximately 1,800 employees. The company is looking to accelerate its growth through AI as it transitions to a cloud-based business model. Expedia Group is another example, announcing in February that it would lay off 1,500 employees as part of a restructuring effort. Let's listen to the news.
Well, dozens of employees at Expedia's North Austin office are being laid off. That is according to a Texas Workforce Commission WARN notice, and that notice says 64 Austin employees are being let go. In a statement, a company spokesperson said it will be reviewing operations this year, which could impact 1,500 jobs across the world. In that statement, the spokesperson went on to say, quote, "While this review will result in the elimination of some roles, it also allows the company to invest in core strategic areas for growth."
Another important reason is the widespread fear of a recession and a general decline in tech stock prices. This has made investors cautious and influenced companies to become more cost-conscious, leading to layoffs. In February, Cisco announced that it is laying off as many as 5% of its workforce, which is about 4,250 due to various factors, including an uncertain business environment and sluggish demand in telecommunications. Listen to this.
Is cutting 4,000 jobs, about 5% of its global workforce. These layoffs are expected to begin this year and then continue into next year as part of a restructuring plan. The company did not give any details on where the job cuts would happen. These layoffs do come on top of thousands of job cuts last year.
However, Cisco has also cited a longer than expected deployment time for products shipped to customers in recent quarters. It is known that layoffs can directly improve a company's profit margin, considering the reduced payroll expenses. Investors usually favor companies that have higher profit margins. In this case, such job cuts can potentially increase a company's value. There is also increased cash flow as saved expenses become available for investment in growth areas. Recent stock market reactions to layoffs in the tech sector have been overwhelmingly positive, leading to questions about the message being sent to companies. In many cases, tech companies have seen their share prices surge after announcing layoffs, with investors seeming to favor profitability over growth. This shift in priorities may mean that layoffs become a common practice in the industry rather than a rare occurrence. For instance, Meta announced additional cuts in January after reducing its staff by 22% over the last year. The decision to do so sent their stocks up by 12% to $450 a share at their peak that month. Following the post-pandemic surge, many investors demanded greater efficiency from companies. As a result, companies came under pressure to implement cost-cutting strategies to optimize operations and enhance financial performance. Consequently, widespread job cuts have become a prevalent tactic aimed at meeting investor expectations and enhancing the overall effectiveness of companies. Also, investors want companies to reduce expenses during economic downturns as revenues slow down. For instance, TCI Fund Management called on Alphabet, Google's parent company, to reduce headcount and take action for improved profitability in 2023. Other big tech companies, such as Meta and Microsoft, have also faced backlash from investors, saying their headcount was too high compared to other companies. Investors seem to like layoffs to move companies towards greater operating efficiency. CEOs are typically less concerned about the well-being of their employees than they are about keeping investors happy. Publicly traded corporations put their shareholders first, even when making decisions that leave a company's people confused and vulnerable to job cuts. According to Stanford business professor Jeffrey Pfeffer, layoffs are contagious because when a major tech company downsizes staff, the board of a competing company may question why their executives are not doing the same. Suppose it appears as if an entire sector is experiencing a downward shift. In that case, Pfeffer argues that it takes the focus off any individual company, which provides cover for layoffs to make up for bad decisions that led to investments or strategies not paying off. While the rising stock market may be a positive sign for the overall economy, the tech industry is not as optimistic. The power and influence that tech workers once felt they had in the job market to switch jobs, win higher salaries, and meteor stock awards has diminished as job security has become a more pressing concern. For many tech workers, the shine has come off an industry they had given their lives to in return for steady employment, flashy perks, and the chance for lucrative stock options. In recent months, companies like Google and Meta have scaled back on offerings like free laundry, massages, food, and fitness benefits. On Blind, an app where employees can post anonymously, one worker wrote, "It seems like technology has changed forever since layoffs." Even workers with years of experience or deep technical expertise are having trouble getting hired again. Parker Lopez is one of such workers. After being laid off from his job as a machine learning engineer and data scientist, Lopez is experiencing a very different job market from the one he was used to. In the past, he had been able to find a new job within 3 months, but this time, he applied to over 1,000 roles without success. "It feels very futile," he said. "It's very new to feel job insecurity," said Julia Grummel, a former senior Bay Area software company product designer. Since being laid off in early 2023, Grummel says she has been very selective in her job search, but the process has been difficult. She has been rejected by automated systems, ghosted by employers after several interview rounds, and received rejection without any feedback. The job competition has been fierce, as many other laid-off workers seek new opportunities. The tech industry has experienced a shift, with the once coveted jobs becoming less secure and less attractive to many. As a result, workers are rethinking their career paths. They are more willing to make career changes, such as taking a lower-paying job, making a lateral move, or even leaving the tech industry entirely. A Bay Area resident who previously worked as a user experience researcher at Meta and requested to remain anonymous to safeguard her future job opportunities also disclosed that she has encountered challenges in her job search since being laid off in April. Initially in academia, she transitioned to the tech industry to expand her knowledge and ensure job security, good benefits, and higher pay. As AI technology continues to develop and reach new heights, its potential to shape our world will only increase, and the livelihood of many individuals will hang in the balance. Is this a good sign or not? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more insightful content. See you on the next one.